Hello, hello. Today is June 2nd, and we have a regular governance meeting. So we have a quite long agenda, and as we discussed after the previous meeting, we will really glance through the news. No big discussions unless somebody wants to. And our main focus will be actually to focus on topics where we can make a difference and where we need a discussion. So the first item is Jenkins 2.289 release. Is everything fine with it?
As far as I can tell, yes. I haven't completed the checklist yet, but yes, it's delivered. Change log is visible. I think everything looks good. Still need to check the logs just to be absolutely sure.
Yeah, and this release is relatively stable being compared to others, so there are not that many breaking changes. So hopefully it will be fine. Okay, moving on. Libera chat adoption. So we haven't announced it yet, but de facto all our RTC channels are either terminated or moved to Libera chat. So I think that we will need to announce it soon, but whomever uses RTC, please take a look at the mailing list because we have moved our community there.
We would do redirection, except apparently redirections often will get the channel banned. So we're just being discreet to say, hey, by the way, we moved.
Yeah, well, I can assume that our channels on Freenode will be taken over anyway. So I don't worry too much. I'm happy to just abandon them. Here's Evelina, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah, hey, sorry about that. I completely lost the track of time. It's so bright, it doesn't feel late. Sorry.
Okay. So yeah, Libera chat done. Thanks to everyone for pushing that because yeah, it's quite important to move quickly. The next important thing is Discourse proof of concept. Again, just heads up, it's happening and it's already quite populated. So there are categories, there is structure set up, there is site feedback. So if you want to try it out, go there, provide feedback here, and we can discuss it. So it's a proof of concept state. There is a mailing list where you can discuss more, but yeah, Discourse is available for evaluation.
I'll work with Olivier to make sure we post now that it's GitHub auth so people can join.
Yeah. And so it's yet to be decided what we will use in the end, but for now it's a GitHub auth, and well, it works pretty well. So then next announcement is from Mark that he will have reduced availability for the period up to 8 weeks. So yeah, we will discuss it later how we split the roles, but yeah, if you haven't noticed that, yes, there is a message from Mark. Same announcement, I will be joining the Continuous Delivery Foundation TOC. So as we discussed before, there is public statement on LinkedIn, which inherits the community statement we reviewed before. There are also some details about how I see this CDF TOC, because I really see it as a representation of the Jenkins community, not as additional big boss or whatever, quite opposite. So there are some proposals. If there is a need, I'm happy to document as JEP, but right now it's waiting for feedback from anyone. It will be effective July 1st. Then Jenkins Contributor Summit, everything as scheduled. Again, call for any kind of participation because we need hosts, we need proposals, and we need contributors to this event. I will be sending another message tomorrow to get more participation, but yeah, we will have summit. One topic which I announced separately that we won't have a discussion about Jenkins 3 unless another contributor takes it over, because I cannot hold this discussion at the moment. So yeah, this is TBD, and unless somebody steps up, I won't be able to host it. Yeah, that's quite unfortunate, but that's what we have. Jenkins Community Awards, again, quick update, awards are happening. So if you are in this list, and all active contributors should be in this list, the Continuous Delivery Foundation did some magic. So you should have received notifications to your inbox, and they using another polling system, but it's also transferable vote. Yeah, poor Arno, whatever. Yeah, anyway, just vote. There are multiple Jenkins contributors. So they also poll for CDF contributors. So there will be a poll for end user companies sent later. So just vote. And yeah, DevOps World call for papers is closed. We've got quite a number of proposals, so it will take some time to process that. Please do not hold your breath to receive final feedback on June 7th, as it was announced. So the real date is to be determined. I would say it's rather end of June. Okay. Then, so we did all news in 5 minutes. Is it good enough? Okay.
Great job, Oleg.
Okay, improving. Next, target do the entire governance meeting in 5 minutes. Okay. So yeah, Jenkins roadmap updates, I just added as a regular item. And again, I failed to submit my roadmap items. So yeah, it's shame on me. One item we actually have to approve at the moment is updating Jenkins template engine to released, because it has been released to the 0. So are there any concerns about that, or should we just ship it? So for that, theoretically, we should be working asynchronously. So I assume that once we get 3 board member approvals, we can merge, because the majority is reached. But yeah, we can do it like that as well.
I'll be honest, I don't know anything about JDE, so I didn't review this.
So you have an opportunity to join a talk from Steven to run at some point. Okay. Yeah, where was I? Okay, next time, deprecating ruby-runtime. So the main question is, what do we need to do is to push this topic forward, because it seems to be a bit stalled. So Gavin did a lot of work to prepare the announcement. There was a lot of work by the team to update the JEP. So I would really want to push this topic forward, but I'm not sure what is exactly our action item there.
I'll keep pushing once the JEP is updated, but
yeah, so for JEP, yeah, there is a pull request from JC about removing JRuby from Stapler. I think in the current state we are clear to go, because we are adopting Stapler. It's approved, and yeah, JRuby doesn't make much sense to maintain in Jenkins.
so this is an additional change to the earlier. So okay, JEP 7 is the one that removes the Ruby runtime, and Jesse wanted to add Stapler to that removal.
Yeah, because basically it's just another cleanup of technical debt. Maintaining Stapler models is not fun, and test coverage is not fun there either.
But the JEP 7 isn't fully merged. There are the updates to it.
Updates, so we have 2 updates. One is update from me, where basically I tried to follow up on your blog post and put data from your blog post there.
Yeah.
And here, well, I'm waiting for feedback from Daniel, and I guess from feedback from you, Gavin, as well.
I was good with the changes. I thought I had trouble following the JEPs, but I thought it was only waiting on Daniel now.
Whoops. I'll try to get this reviewed soon. Last few weeks have been weird. If you're in Europe and you know what's going on in May, I mean, there are more days off than actual work days.
Yeah, something like that. You should try Russia, because the first 10 days of May were vacations or holidays or something. Yeah, it's a separate story if you want to discuss politics. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, it would be nice if we get it over the line, because again, LTS merge window is happening soon. And I think that we should announce this change in the upgrade guide, even if it's not clear directly related to the Jenkins core, because yeah, the impact can be quite massive, or maybe not. So we'd rather merge it earlier.
Yeah, once this Jeff is updated, I'll update the blog post and we'll change the dates and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, well, this job mostly inherits your blog post. So yeah, there should be no much difference. So basically approval from Daniel is needed. Okay. So another thing is job process update. Unfortunately, we don't have Liam on the call. But yeah, quick update. So yeah, there is a pull request which is staged, which is almost ready to go from my point of view. We basically rework how the job process works to simplify it. So we get rid of BDFL delegate role. We get rid of BDFL involvement in the job one process. To answer Gavin's question, we will keep BDFL or equivalent role. I had a meeting with Kiki to just discuss his vision for that. I will follow up with the board separately just to explain this vision and why we would keep a role. But yeah, from JEP one standpoint, there will be no BDFL involvement and there will be no blockage for that. Moreover,
Did you say my question?
Why?
I don't know. I thought you said to answer my question. I don't remember having a question.
Or maybe it was Liam.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it was in the mailing list. But yeah, we also get rid of a second review role. So what our current structure will be that they will be champion or sponsoring, basically a number of contributors who lead the effort. Then there is optional advisor, basically for less experienced contributors, etc. A person who helps to get a job through the process, to provides technical feedback if needed, etc. And we also have a reviewer role. But for the majority of use cases, review role is Jenkins Community / open governance process, discussion in the mailing list, consensus, voting at the governance meeting if needed. And in some cases, we can delegate it, so if needed. But yeah, we basically align what happens with JEPs with what happens with other decisions. And I think it's the best solution for now until we have technical steering committee or whatever entity to handle that separately. Does it work for everyone?
Yep.
Evelina, Daniel?
I have not had an opportunity to review this in detail, sorry.
Okay. So yeah, if you could take a look later, it would be great. I think that we more or less reached consensus in the mailing list. So we need to agree with Liam how we report particular part of this job, because I think it's good enough. Liam thinks that we need to reward it. So I will try to get it over the line, just too many emergencies. But my target is that by the next governance meeting, we can merge it and make the process effective, because what is our current state is that we have so many stalled jobs. And once we merge job one, we can effectively proceed with them. So that we can either say that, yeah, they're effectively merged, or we can defer them, but there will be no dependency on KK's feedback to get it over the line. And yeah, KK is busy with other topics, so we can avoid disturbing him for every job. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, Oleg.
Yeah. So then next topic, GitHub Issues for open governance. So basically the idea, the proposal was from me that we have a lot of topics in our backlog, wish list, etc. And currently, if you're a contributor who doesn't regularly participate in the governance meetings, it's difficult for you to understand what is cooking and where you can contribute. So roadmap, even if it was updated, it's not enough for fine-grained tasks. And I thought that it would be nice to have a backlog somewhere so that everyone could pick up the task. For example, let's say, yeah, job 1 do some updates, for example, introduce change history in jobs or something like that. So just these topics we could keep in the backlog. We can discuss in GitHub issues or elsewhere, and somebody could take them over. So it's not necessarily just a small group of people handling these governance matters. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, I thought this was already approved.
I don't think we have a consensus, to be honest, because yeah, Daniel said he is rather against, I believe. Yeah, this necessarily illustrates the GitHub repo model can be weird. Daniel, are you against that, or is it just a side note?
I do not think that the choice of tool is the correct one.
Okay.
But that's about it. Increasing visibility is probably useful.
Yeah, one of the options is actually to try Discourse for this matter, because why not? So I would rather be hesitant about using Jira issues, because Jira issues do not really work like we discovered with events and with other topics. So
yeah, I don't think Jira has visibility we need for this kind of thing. I mean, I agree with Daniel. Jira is better suited for this kind of thing. I just don't think anyone else will ever see the tickets. Like even when you look for like good first time issues and Hacktoberfest and all the contributors, it's just not visible enough because people don't go there and look for tickets. They just dump something in there, and we have 1.5 billion tickets and nobody looks there.
Yep. So potentially we can move governance ideas, etc., to Discourse and just close the topics when they're finished. The problem with that is that it might collide with developer mailing list, and at least for now, my assumption that governance discussions, etc., on general happen in the developer mailing list. So that's why I was thinking that GitHub issues might be better. But what do you think?
My immediate vote is go with GitHub issues. I think it should go into Discourse, but I also would love to see, like, I'm hoping down the road that people like it enough that Discourse replaces all the mailing lists, because I want to see visibility. I don't want to have like 18 mailing lists that I have to be subscribed to. I want to be picking and choosing topics that I care about. So yeah, I don't think we're at the point where we should say this should be in Discourse, but I'm hoping down the road it will be.
Yeah, maybe, but
so taking a step back, one of the potential problems I see is this is yet another place where people post comments and discuss things. And historically, we had the dev list for that. Isn't what we need more like a roadmap for governance with references to where discussions are happening?
So yeah, I agree with you, Daniel. We shouldn't use GitHub issues as a venue for discussions. It should be a backlog, and we should create an issue template or whatever which explicitly says that the discussion has to happen there in the mailing list. Because I'm not ready to change this process as well at the moment. We have a governance roadmap here, apart from it being dated. It's something we need to improve. It's not really suitable for fine-grained items, and GitHub issues could be used for fine-grained items.
Okay, so how about this? GitHub issues, but nobody gets to comment, all items are locked. Then it's basically the roadmap kind of thing in the GitHub presentation, and there are references where the discussions should be happening.
So on that note, one of the reasons why Oleg was proposing this was so that he could get help on some of the tasks he's been doing. If they're locked, nobody can say, I want to take this item.
Well, we can figure it out because if there is a link to discussion somewhere, then it can be discussed there.
Okay, so
I
everything
don't
we put in there should have a mailing list topic to start with, or something.
Yeah, in theory, or we log topics which have associated discussion.
Okay,
Because
then
there might
yeah,
be
that
topics.
yeah, that negates my concern then, or not negates, but calms my concerns. If I'm happy with them being locked, as long as there is a link to where we should be discussing them, and I don't care how and where we discuss it. But
so yeah, GitHub issues for backlog, not for discussion. Yeah, default behavior locked issues with the links.
Yeah, or maybe we can just say discussions elsewhere, and if people, if comments trickle in, then we can always start locking things to prevent that off-topic discussion. So it shouldn't feel unwelcoming, which is kind of a drawback of locking things.
No discussion. Address somehow by issue templates, maybe even bots if we need later. But because yeah, there are bots for something like that. No discussions. Find unlock to lock issues when needed then. Okay, does it make sense?
I'm happy with it.
Daniel, Mark, Evelina?
No, it makes sense to me. I think having it as issues, you know, in those locked backlog items is going to make it easier for everyone to browse through them, and then the discussion happen where it needs to. That sounds good.
Yeah.
+1 from me.
Okay, then all +1s. Yeah, one question about the license for this repository. Should we just take Creative Commons, or should we invent something else? Because I wanted to use the same repository, for example, to dump a backup of a governance meeting conversations we had in Freenode and things like that. So I would foresee that we use this repository for other topics where we're basically too lazy to put it on the Jenkins IO, but we can still use it as a repository for some cases. And if we ever decide to adopt HackMD, for example, for meeting notes, then we can also use this repository to store the meeting notes.
I would like to finish one proposal before we start another proposal, because I think we have an issue with that right now. So I do agree though that's a good idea, but I don't want to. I want to get the governance backlog running before we start adding new things to it.
Agreed. And yeah, then question: who would like to prototype this repository?
I guess I can.
Do you want to do that?
No, but if someone has to do it, I am probably free right now.
Well, you're doing discourse, which is also important. But yeah, if you want to take that, thank you.
I'll take it. I can take it.
Yeah, I don't think it's really a big task. So Gavin is going to be Jenkins Communications Channels Officer soon.
It's not uncommon for that to happen for me. So yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for handling that. Okay. So then moving on, Jenkins funding. I have some news. So yeah, we have this funding discussion, which was quite old. I had to recover that due to a few reasons. So first of the reasons, SPI would like us to move our budgets and treasury elsewhere. because when we agreed that we would spend money eventually and run out of them, and the topic is closed, nobody expected the transition from the CDF to take 2 years. So they would be interested if we move out, and our only destination at the moment is LFX crowdfunding. We kind of agreed on that, and I do not think it's a problem. The problem was with expensive backend, because originally when I reached out to the LFX support team, they said that there is no way to actually support multiple people who would be approving requests. So I came up with a proposal like, let's do some backstop, like treasurer role, who would approve that, and yeah, we maximize community efforts, so it's not a single person bottleneck. So there is a long discussion about how we do that. I think we reached a consensus with Uli, at least, maybe with Gavin as well. But yeah, the main thing there is actually the Linux Foundation found a workaround, so they can add all 5 board members as reviewers. So my question to you, do we want to implement this treasurer role documentation as a separate job, or do we just update what was written there and that's it, without formal treasurer?
I don't have a strong opinion about this. I kind of don't want to have discussion, like the mailing list discussion was happening, and then if we're going to jump to the meeting, it's hard to go back. Like, I don't know. Whatever, I am supporting whatever is the least effort for us.
Yeah. So yeah, by the way, Gary and Evelina, did you receive notifications from Expensify?
I
Yes.
did, yep.
So you have access to the system.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's enough to proceed. Okay, so what it means is that somebody has to initiate a money transfer. I can just do that because I did the previous one. So I think that we just move all remaining money to crowdfunding. And then we basically end up with just one location, so that everything becomes more simple.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so treasurer role I will put on hold for now. I still need to update the job, but I think that right now we don't have to introduce the official role.
Yeah, I don't think we have enough expenses or any expenses that we really have to worry about it yet.
Well, I wish we had some expenses because we get donations, so we should spend them because it's the best way to appreciate the donations we receive.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard about some projects having hundreds of thousands of dollars unused donations, so I don't think it's really appropriate without mentioning the names. And yeah, in our case, we should really be close to net zero.
Yep. But that's a future problem.
Yep, I agree. So I will initiate the transfer so that we basically close SPI as soon as possible. A treasury role put on hold. One question, and yeah, Gavin will say that let's finish what we started. So I think TBD. Yeah, so GitHub sponsors no need.
In this specific case, I don't think we should have more ways to accept sponsorship that we're not spending. I think we should start figuring out how to spend it before we start asking for
well,
allowing
I have
more.
something like, I have topic here, confirming budget for LFX mentorship, documentation project. We also have ideas about Tecton client and a few other items like REST API.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just didn't have time to come up with proposal for review.
Yeah.
Okay, so TBD for now, we have some action items, so that's good. Yeah, one moving on.
Yep.
Okay, friend of Jenkins. So where do we stand now? We agreed that we killed the program. So basically it's officially dead. If you go to donate, I guess to donate, yeah, here. So you can see that friend of Jenkins, yeah, thanks to Gavin for adjusting wording. So right now, yeah, we don't provide anything and we intend to somehow provide recognition without any explicit commitment how we do that. it's yet to be figured out. But yeah, friend of Jenkins is officially dead as a program. But I would suggest to go further and to open source the plugin so that everyone can install that if they wish. My estimation that it would take 1 hour or so. The benefit that whomever is interested, they can install this plugin and it will have a link to Jenkins.io/participate. So in theory, it can lead to some traffic. In theory, it can help us to facilitate contributions. And yeah, in practice, why not?
Yeah, in practice, why not? I don't think the whole point of it was you install it on a server and then there's a link for you to donate, but you've already donated to get the plugin. So yeah, it was a weird.
Well, it just wasn't open source because yeah, shipping ancient plugin with whatever crap inside, and I can assure you it's ancient because I have access to the code.
We all do.
Yeah, and yeah, another benefit for us is that if we update this plugin and release a major version, that we will be able to get rid of the previous versions on the user instances, if any, because
And
they will eventually update.
It makes way more sense for it to be used on public installs, not private hidden installs. So yeah, I'm in favor of opening sourcing it. I'm not sure we necessarily need to release it, but as you said, we might as well release it and anyone can install it then.
Yeah, I see no problem with releasing. Yeah, why not? So, is there anyone fine with that we just release it and close the topic?
Release it.
Okay. Does anyone want to play with that, or I can do that? I have a to-do item to write some code sometimes. So yeah, maybe it will be a good thing.
The only thing to me is I think it should go through the hosting process, not so that it has to get approved, just so that everything gets done properly, because we've had some issues where repos have been created randomly in the past and then other pieces aren't in place. So
yeah, I agree. I will still need to rework it first before even submitting for hosting, because when Daniel sees a plugin using 1.396, I guess hosting won't be approved.
Luckily, I'm not involved, but it wouldn't be approved even if I don't reject it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so we have a few topics left. So my suggestion would be to drag Mark's topic to the bottom, so we finish these discussions, and then we spend all the remaining time to check what is the transition plan. Is it fine with everyone? Okay, so Elastic sponsorship for OpenTelemetry. So basically, Cyril reached out to the community and offered that we could. Oh, it was actually Damian. So there is Elastic APM. And there is interest to improve our own monitoring within the system, including Jenkins instances and other components. So the idea that we would use OpenTelemetry, and OpenTelemetry is being widely adopted at the moment. And for example, in JSOC for remote monitoring, we will be also integrating with OpenTelemetry, so that it's a good engine. And the OpenTelemetry is just supplier of the data. So we need something to actually process this data, to visualize, etc. And the proposal from Damien, Cyril, the company is to use APM. So there are other opportunities like Prometheus, Thanos, if you want, or APM is a more SaaS-ish solution, so that we don't have to maintain anything on our own. And yeah, the question is whether we want to at least explore this option as a prototype.
I don't think it's a board issue, a governance issue, but sure.
Well, so technically it's sponsorship, well, accepting this donation. So, at some point it might be canceled, etc. So I would rather prefer it to be an open governance process definitely not governance board, because, well, whomever joins this meeting can vote.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. And, you know, anytime any company sponsors or donates to us, we can highlight you, and especially if this data is public, because I would love to see that we can say, hey, look, this is open telemetry. This is the data we're getting. This is how you can see it. It's a good use case. I'm fine with that. I am, as the mailing list pointed out, I'm not fine with it being on infra or anything else that has sensitive data on it. But after that, it sounds cool. And since
Yeah, so
CI is a
basically,
showcase.
all our instances except CI Jenkins IO contain potentially private data.
Sorry,
So
I
trusted
missed
CI.
that.
So we have CI Jenkins IO, which
Yeah.
contains, let's say, more or less public data.
Yeah.
Because it's not really trusted in our current design.
Yeah.
And we have infra CI, trusted CI, search CI, and release. So 4 more Jenkins instances, and all of them contain sensitive information.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically what you say that allowing it only for CI Jenkins IO.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
That's the offer anyway. So.
Well, the original proposal said infra, and I was like, no. But someone else brought that up first. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm also -1 for infra. So who has different opinion? We should take
so the one thing that I would like to note here, and I missed the conversation that happened on the dev list, is, I mean, we are allowing the infra team or enabling the infra team to choose to do this, right? We're not deciding on their behalf that this is what will happen.
Yes, it was proposed by infra team.
Ah,
okay. In that case, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So basically, infra officer can make these decisions, taking our current decision-making process. Well, yeah. So infra officer, he's eligible to represent the Jenkins community on all the sponsorship conversations. And yeah, if infra team makes the decisions for us, it's just additional level of approval, I believe. Which doesn't hurt to discuss in public, because we can get contributors to open telemetry and other components. So I totally support this approach. Okay, moving on then.
Yep.
Plugin end of life policy. So we don't have Basil on the call. Are we ready to proceed with this topic?
I think it's still ongoing. Just the scope of what we should be doing is very unclear. I don't know what this meeting would, what we could accomplish in this meeting, other than, you know, point out this discussion is happening, and everyone interested should look into it and participate. But otherwise, there's no consensus.
I do agree with Basil's notes at the end, though. There is a lot of proposals for a lot of process, and that makes me concerned that nothing will get done.
Well, we get things done here and there. So yeah, right now there is a rather explosion of different initiatives here and there. We probably should be more conscious, but at the same time, this particular thing has been a problem for us for a long time, because every time when I have to initiate 2-week timeout for a plugin which has been touched last time 5 years ago, I'm not very happy about that. Because over 2 weeks, we lose some of potential maintainers who just give up or forget.
Yep.
So I would like to get this topic over the line. But yeah, I understand the concern that we have too many topics in parallel.
Oh no, I didn't mean that. In Basil's last post in the mail list, he was talking about there are too many proposals for too much processes, like automated tasks that are going to, you know, trigger end of life stuff and all the other stuff. I agree with him on that. It's getting a little bit out of control. That we're not actually figuring out minimum requirements before we're dealing with all the
Yeah,
requirements.
so there are two parts. Firstly is a policy. Second is automation for this policy.
Yeah.
Because what we really need is to have this policy, even if we don't apply it always, but we apply it when needed. This is perfectly fine for us.
Yeah, and I think at a minimum, we can do it just for people wanting to take over. So like that, you said if a plugin hasn't been released in 5 years and someone's like, hey, I'd like to take over, that to me is one of the few cases that we should have a much simpler policy for.
Exactly. And once we have this policy, whomever wants to do some coding exercise and implement automation for this policy, they are welcome to proceed if they want. But we will have policy in place and unblock contributors.
Yeah, so I agree with Daniel. I think this should kind of stay in the mail list for now. And then we can, if governance needs to step in as a final person, that's fine. But I don't think right now government needs to dictate this policy.
Yeah, but yeah, there is a consensus that we want a policy which should help maintainers.
Maintainers, users, everyone is going to want a better, more clear policy about this.
Yeah, I agree. I think there is a good solution to the problem, but I believe we have not yet found it. So yeah.
Or we just go YOLO and delete everything that's more than 5 years old.
1
I
year.
can live with it.
Months.
Okay, so this is something we will definitely have to vote on when somebody writes a job. But for now, we need to unblock puzzles so that there is clear consensus about what to be put in this job. And once we have that, yeah, I think we will be able to vote. Because yeah, if 1 year, many of my plugins will go to adoption, and probably I deserve that. But yeah, it's something to discuss separately. Okay.
Yep.
Then yeah, we have one topic left. Mark's roles in the community. So Mark, would you like to take over this discussion and maybe screen share?
Sure.
What's your preference? I can do meeting notes.
If you, well, I'm happy to share, or you can just share the note that I sent to the.
Okay, I can screen share then, if you prefer. But yeah, then I'm not making much meeting notes, you know.
Oh, right. Well, so good point. Maybe it is better that I screen share. So
whatever. I think we can start.
I don't think there's a lot of notes for this one, anyways.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So the most we've got. Well, the issue is I'm going out. Currently scheduled June 9th to donate a kidney, and I'll be out for 2 weeks from my employment and as much as 8 weeks from the Jenkins project. We would like somebody else to help, and these are opportunities for people to help. There are 2 different presentations here. One was in this developer list, another was in the docs list. And I think the 2 places that need more help, we've got a volunteer for, on this page, the Jenkins Docker images. We've got a volunteer for Scribe for UX meeting. We've got a volunteer. We don't have a volunteer for Platform SIG yet. And I've got a volunteer for Mentor a Google Summer of Code project. So it feels like that one is doing okay. The dev tasks are not causing me, Platform SIG doesn't have, and there's a meeting this Friday. So, and I won't be able to run it.
Yeah, so I could probably take over Platform SIG, well, again, for a while, because I was the one who started that. For me, the problem that I cannot do it on Fridays. So we will have to move it.
And that makes sense. So that's that one. I may just send a cancellation message for this week's meeting, and we'll allow that it will happen later as volunteers are available.
Yeah. So yeah, for me the interest is Java 17 because I wanted to tinker with it anyway, and maybe Team Jacomp would be also interested to proceed.
Right.
Yeah, if not, so in any case, it will be a reduction of the meeting frequency, maybe once per 2 weeks or 1 month. Yeah, so the main objective would be to just get Docker images initiatives. I also have occasional blog posts for ARM to publish because, well, I created it due to other reasons, but actually there is some good content to be reused. So yeah, I think that ARM support is something we need to put on the roadmap for platform seek. But yeah, and Dockers, I'm also formerly a maintainer, so I'm pretty bad maintainer for Docker images, but yeah, I can also keep lights on in these topics. And I will look for someone to continue so that you, Mark, don't have to worry about that.
The other hot topic here is actually on docs, and it's in the docs list, not here. The topic is the changelog for Jenkins releases. And what I had proposed was that we would have a new contributor help with the weekly changelog. And we got our first weekly changelog submitted by that new contributor this last week. So was really delighted, and he'll do it again next week as well. So Dhiraj Singh Jodha has been willing to do it, and he's doing the weekly with my tutoring. The bigger challenge is the LTS changelog. But my thought there was we just accept that the release lead, we ask them to write the changelog for 2.289.2 and 2.289.3. And I intend to be back in time to do the September major, the .1.
Yeah. So for changelogs, in general, I think it's a matter of Jenkins core maintenance team. It's not a matter of the documentation seek, though, yeah, I admit there is overlap. But yeah, Team Jacomp is still here. Release lead so for .1 it's Raihan, and this process is over. Thanks a lot to Raihan. We will find someone for .2, and we will be able to coordinate change logs. So whether it will be the same release lead or another contributor, but we can figure it out. So I don't think that it's something massive on your shoulders at the moment, Mark, because
I think it should be the responsibility of the release lead to have it done, but not necessarily do the work. Yep. So whoever is the release lead should be the one that's pushing whoever gets release notes done.
Yeah, no debate there. What the challenge is that the .1 changelog requires a lot more judgment than the .2, .3, etc., and a lot more judgment than the weekly changelog.
Yeah, but .1 is done. Next .1 will be September, and all of us hope that by September you will be back, Mark.
Right.
So yeah, I think it's not a problem at the moment.
Yeah, the way you've described the release lead expectation is already how it's working. Raihan already reached out to me and said, Mark, will you do 2.289.1's changelog? And I did. So absolutely, that is a very workable condition.
So yeah, for the rest, do we have any other areas which you haven't handed over yet? So for example, Git plugin.
So I've got we've got 3 maintainers who are handling the Git plugin, cool. Bobby Sandel, Olivier Lamy, and Ramon Leon. So I'm comfortable with Git plugin and Git client plugin, well covered.
Yeah, so another topic I would be concerned about is Jenkins IO copy editing bandwidth and also social media bandwidth. Because so for copy editing right now it's mostly Team Jacomp and me and Mark. So without Mark we will have less time. For social media it's basically just me at the moment, and again it would be nice to have someone else. So maybe I will cooperate with Alisa to get more involvement in this effort. But yeah, again, it's areas where we would be happy to get more contributions anyway.
Right.
So yeah, for that I'm just raising a flag that yeah, likely we will feel the reduced bandwidth if we do not get more contributors. But yeah, I'll spend some time looking for contributors. And yeah, you may have noticed that currently we have memkins. Yeah, I know that it's a terrible use case, but yeah, now it's memkins as code. So right now, if you want to post memes, you can just submit pull request, and we can adopt it to Jenkins Twitter account if you want, so that we move all the contribution process to GitHub, so that there will be no this wacky reviews in a Gitter chat somewhere, and instead of that, whomever wants to see a tweet, you've got to submit a pull request. And we can automate it for blocks, etc. So that, again, eventually automate, not immediately, so that at least there are dummy pull requests which can be copy edited.
Yeah, and I added on that note, I added a show off category to Discourse. So hopefully we can have people in a less formal way show off things they're talking about, which will lead to social media, blog posts. So, I mean, it's a little longer term goal, but it should help with content.
Yeah, I agree. And moreover with content contributions, because right now, for example, for LinkedIn, it's infinite queue we can create, because for LinkedIn, general recommendation is to have one post per day. We have much higher traffic in Twitter. So usually it's something to post every day if somebody is available to post it, which is a bigger challenge at the moment. For Twitter, we should just encourage the community, because we have so many things happening here and there. And if somebody was just posting a tweet so that we could repost that, done, we have a lot of content already. So yeah, there are not so many contributors doing that, but yeah, when you release a plugin, when you submit a cool pull request, or when somebody submits cool pull request to your plugin, and you can just appreciate this contribution, all of this traffic actually helps.
Yeah.
And we will be happy to basically repost it, but somebody needs to be a creator first.
Yep. So hopefully that'll improve. I don't think it necessarily has to improve now, but yeah.
Okay, so any other topics, any other responsibilities of Mark we missed? So a definite platform leveler plugin, but yeah, we will survive somehow, I guess. Yeah, I'm muted. Yeah.
Yes, I think we'll, all the other plugins I maintain, everyone will be just fine without new releases of them.
Yeah, yeah. You can grant Daniel a blanket approval to release if there is a security matter. So I usually do it when I go to a break. Yeah, I think it should be enough. So no other topics, and we can finish on time then. So next meeting, June 16th. Thanks, everyone. And yeah, I think it was a better pace today in terms of discussions.
Well done, Oleg. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Thanks all. Bye.
Bye.